Hey everyone, today we're going to discuss about partial payments. So this lesson is still connected from our previous lesson, which is about simple interest. So whenever we talk about simple interest, it's usually associated with loans and borrowing monies and even in credit card bills. Now, we do not normally pay our debt in just one go. We can pay it in partial payments. So what we're going to do is we're going to compute for the interest that will be given to us if we pay it partially. And we'd like to know how can we compute for the interest that's given to us. So here's what we call a day in month method in counting for the days. So the day in month method is used to count how many days are there from the date of the loan to the date when it is due. Technically, this is our due date in paying our bills. Note that the day after the date of the loan is day 1. For example, if we borrowed money at, let's say, January 5, and we'd like to pay that money at January 20, we will count how many days are there from January 5 to January 20. Take note that January 6 will be considered day 1 and January 7 will be considered day 2. So if we count from January 5 to January 20, considering 6 is our day 1, there will be how many days? There will be 15 days between January 5 and January 20. So that's how we do it in the day in month method. Of course, we can also have different months. So we have to know how many days are there in 1 month. So we have to memorize that. Also, an ordinary interest is the interest based on a 360-day year. An exact interest is the interest based on a 365-day year. So basically, when we know the days that we are going to have in our day in month method, we're going to divide it either in 360 or 365. It depends on the system that their bank uses. Now, the banker's rule is to calculate interest based on ordinary interest and exact time. So for the purpose of our discussion, we will be using ordinary interest. So earlier we had 15 days. So we're going to divide that 15 days into 360. So let's have an example. Let's say that we have a loan of 240,000 and it's made with an interest rate of 5% and should be repaid after 80 days. If a payment of 80,000 is made after 30 days and the balance on the 80th date, calculate the total amount paid and the total interest paid. Also, for letter B, we find the total amount paid without partial payments. So first, let us write down what we're given with. So we have a loan. Our balance is 240,000 pesos. And we have an interest rate of, the interest is 5%. So at first, we made a payment after 30 days and the payment is 80,000. And the entire balance will be paid on the 80th day. What we'd like to know is the total amount paid and the interest paid. So how are we going to compute for that? So first of all, what we're going to do is, number 1, we calculate the interest on principal from the date of loan to the date of first payment. Remember that we first paid at day 30. So we compute the interest based on that day. So our balance is, that's the principal, 240,000 times the interest, which is 0.05, times the day, which is 30 days from the date where we borrow up to the date where we paid, divided by 360. So we'll be using ordinary interest. We compute for that, and the interest is 1,000. So that's our first step. We compute for the interest. Now, for the second step, this is we calculate the remainder of the payment. So the remainder is amount paid minus interest portion. So we know that we have this remainder here. We paid 80,000 for the 30th day. We're going to deduct the interest here because this interest of 1,000 is the one that we're going to pay first. Then the remainder will be paid in the balance. So the remainder is 79,000 pesos. This means that 79,000 pesos will be deducted to the balance. So it means that what you actually paid for your balance is only 79,000 pesos. The 1,000 is the interest that you paid. So for the third step is we will calculate the new balance. So the new balance is equal to the previous balance minus the remainder. So the previous balance is 240,000. And we subtract it with our remainder. Take note that we only paid 79,000 for the balance. So 240 minus 79,000, that will be 161,000. So this will be our new balance. Now for step 4, in case of more than one partial payment, we calculate interest on the new balance from the date of the previous payment to the date of the next payment. So if we have more than one partial payment, we're going to repeat steps 1 and 2. But in our problem, we only made one partial payment, so there's no need to do step 4. If ever that there is more than one partial payment, we will repeat steps 1 and 3 based on the new balance in the day that when it was paid. So there. Now let's go to the 5th step. Take note on the 4th step, we did not do anything because there's only one partial payment. We only do the 4th step if there are 2 or more partial payments. Now on step 5 at maturity, so basically we pay the entire balance. We calculate interest on last partial payment. Add this to the new balance to compute for the total final payment due. So basically, we are now ready to pay 161,000. But this is not the only money that we're going to pay. We're going to pay the interest as well in the 161,000. So we'll compute first for the interest. So that is interest is equal to the balance 161,000 times the interest rate, which is 0.05 times the time. The last time we paid was at day 30 and this is now day 80. Take note, ha? The balance was paid at day 80 according to the problem. So the days between day 30 to day 80 is 50. So there are 50 days over 360. Let's compute that using our calculator and we will have 1,118.06. We will round this off to the nearest decimal place. Nearest 2 decimal place because remember this is money and we have centavos for that. So what we're going to do here, and since this is our interest and we are ready to pay 161,000, we're going to pay 161,000 plus the interest of 1,118.06. So the maturity value is 161,000 plus the interest, which is 1,118.06. So we're going to add this up, and this is the amount of money that we're going to pay on the 80th day. So this is equal to 162,118 pesos and 6 cents. So that is paid on the 80th day. So we'd like to know how much is our total amount that's paid. So that will be 162,118.06, the amount that we paid on the 80th day, plus 80,000, the amount that we just paid on the 30th day. So if we add that, we're going to get 242,118 pesos and 6 centavos. So remember that we borrowed 240,000 and this is the amount that we're going to pay back to our lender. So the interest that he or she got is 2,118.06. So let's say that we did not make any partial payments. We just paid the entire balance on the 80th day. How does that compare with our previous example? So let's compare that. So let's have no partial payments. Let's just compute for the interest right away and the maturity value right away. So interest is 240,000 times the interest, which is 0.05, times the time, which is 80 over 360. Let's compute that using our calculators. We're going to get 2,666.67 centavos. So if we add that to our balance, remember maturity value is the principal plus interest. That would be 240,000 plus 2,666 pesos and 67 centavos. This is equal to 242,666 pesos and 66 centavos. It is much greater than the previous money that we had by 500 pesos. So whenever we do partial payments, we are able to make our interest a little bit smaller. And that's just for having one partial payment. If we have several partial payments, we can reduce our interest much more. So that's actually being done for credit card companies whenever we pay bills. So that's everything about partial payments. In our next video, what we're going to have is the compound interest. So I hope you guys learned a lot today. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys on the next video.